Hey, hey, welcome back, guys. All right, so Libras, let's go ahead and take a peek at what's ahead in love for Libra. We have an Eight of Pentacles, we have a Nine of Swords. So, first off, um, I don't know if Libra is going to be tending to somebody when they're ill. This could be somebody that they know through the workplace, somebody that they care about or have gotten to know in the workplace could go through something that's very difficult. And Libra could be somebody who really steps up to, be there beside them, nurture them, help them out a little bit. Knight of Swords. It definitely feels like this would be Libra, possibly kind of defending somebody, racing in to protect them a little bit. Is that going to change dynamics between two people? Is this possibly going to be something that becomes, from friend to romance? We have a Queen of Pentacles. We have the Guide. I would argue yes. There is somebody out there that I feel like this is Libra wanting to go to someone's aid or protect them in some way. Now, it could be that Libra feels guided to this person, but I'll put it this way, like whomever this is, they could be an earth sign. Um, they have so much gratitude for this. There's definitely some energy here of Libra doing something very suddenly to help another person. Let me ask about the guides. Hi, Raina McCall. Sorry, Raina Kamal. Forgive me that sometimes I mush your name together, and it's such a beautiful name. It's like music. So forgive me for getting the words wrong once in a while. Okay, we have the Tower. We have the Knight of Cups. We have the Three of Cups. All right, there is definitely something coming up where dynamics are going to change. Either somebody that Libra cares about already or has some kind of good working relationship with. I guess it could be the reverse. This could be somebody that is going to come rushing into Libra's aid. But the guides are saying this was always kind of destined to be, because in the event, like maybe either of them ever sent out the bat signal of, I could use some assistance, that was always going to be the trigger where a love story now like blossoms. Because it's not just coming forth to give somebody support and aid in their time of need. It's because there's love there that's always been there that maybe hadn't been amplified until that moment, So I would say this could be very dramatic. It could be somebody, going through something really sudden and difficult, and what seemed like just friendship in that moment of somebody's need. Again, we have the Queen of Pentacles. It's not just, hey, I'm here for you. It's like, I've always kind of wanted to be there for you. I think it's going to bring love to the surface. Why do we keep getting the Queen of Pentacles? I definitely feel like this could be like somebody in the workplace, perhaps. Seven of Swords, Justice in the reverse. Okay. I'm guessing this has been a romance that has been like either like kept under the rug. Like, we're not going to acknowledge this. It's the elephant in the room. It's the feelings that are not going to be acknowledged. The only thing is to have that, there's Libra, right? But it's also the Justice card, but in the reverse. I don't know if this person intentionally just like avoided and stayed away and didn't want to ask Libra for anything. Can I just simplify this and say, who is it that's going to be in need of assistance? Is it Libra going to them, or is it them going to Libra? Hierophant. God, if I know. The Hierophant there is, that would be, there's this strong belief. There's this crown chakra opening. There is this, higher self. And so maybe it's a two-way street. Seven of Pentacles, Six of Swords. Again, we see earth energy, sword energy. So I can't tell who it is. I really can't. It could be either of them. It could be both of them. This could be two people that would be there for each other in a heartbeat. And it could just be that, let's say this starts out as a work relationship, Libra and their boss, and they get along really well. But throughout, lots of times we form friendships where there's an undercurrent where it's like, no, we're not just friends. I love and respect this person. And honestly, I'll always stand beside them. If something goes down, if the shit goes down, if the ship goes down, I'm going to be there to make sure that they're all right because I got their back. That kind of energy is all over this. And it says it doesn't matter, even if these are two people who haven't seen each other in a long time, because this is passage of time and moving on, but then there's still this awareness that, yeah, but it doesn't matter if whenever you call, baby, I'll roll up. Hi, Joan. So nice to see you again tonight, babe. So it could be that. So how swiftly is this coming in? 4 of Cups. I wanted to blurt 4 months. 4 months from now. The Moon. The only thing is with the Moon, there's something that's hidden. Can we pluck at that and figure out what is hidden? We have the Queen of Wands. We have the Star. What's hidden is that there's going to be some kind of either need for healing. I don't know if somebody's going to suddenly get evicted, not have a place to live. We've got, like a location here because we have Hollywood, California. But we see somebody getting evicted. They don't have a place to live, maybe. Look, I'm sorry that we have kind of like these stressful, negative things, but admittedly in this story, I mean, that was our second card out, was big stress. And it's like somebody needs a place to come and stay. This could be, there is something coming that these characters would not have foreseen, but it's like, I worked with them 5 years ago. We maybe never had a romance, but I've cared about them always. And, it almost seems like these two are going to be on a collision course. Like one or the other is going to suddenly go through something that is unforeseeable in the moment, but could, housing displacement and stuff like that happens all the time. And it's like, well, looks like I'm going to be moving. And it's like, oh, well, why don't you come stay with me for a while? It feels like these two, how are they going to reconnect if this is a reconnection thing? Or maybe they've always been in contact. I don't know for sure. King of Cups sideways. There's always an emotional bond between Libra and whomever this person is. This feels almost like, maybe Libra and this person had a much bigger bond. Maybe they were like married or something. This is like, oh, whatever. We were married in our 20s, but we've been divorced 20 years also. But, I'll always care for them. And if something went belly up in their life, of course they could come back into my world. Whatever this is, with a 3 of Wands, because I was asking, how do these two like reconnect? And it says, well, there's an emotional bond, but then there's also, I don't know if somebody's going to be picking the other person up at the airport, whomever is experiencing a big loss, whomever is going through something that is, like I said, maybe it's a loss of a living situation or something. And it's like, well, problems happen all the time. It's like, well, it turns out I'm stuck. I had all my money and my passport stolen and, all these other things happened. And it's like, well, then get your butt back here and I'll pick you up at the airport. Don't worry, you got a place to stay. It could be something like that because these two are obviously together, right? And it's like, you climb into bed, I'm just going to, sing you a lullaby and you get some rest. It feels very nurturing and it feels like in somebody's time of need, Libra's going to be there for them or vice versa. In this story, it almost doesn't matter which is which because they would have done it for one another. There is a reason these two have met in the first place, with those guides being a part of this. But this is one of those stories where it's a very different story. We haven't had one quite like this, where you notice how it's a little bit less about the romance and more about, what love really is. Love is where we care about another person. We care about their well-being. We care about, the tragedies of someone's life. We care to be there for them. You notice this is less about like a hot-blooded romance and more about when something unforeseeable happens in another person's life. That's where we step up and it's like, look, I'm a safe space for you, and I really feel like this is somebody's going to take the other person in. Let me look a little closer. Tower. Okay. We keep getting a big cataclysmic event. This is something huge. This is something disruptive. I'm so sorry that we have such a negative event, but the silver lining here is that there's honestly, I always say that I love the tower, and I do, because the tower changes things that needed to be changed. And I would never, like be like, oh, cool, let's celebrate, someone's huge misfortune and upheaval in their life. Nobody wants change to happen, in this huge, disruptive, painful experience. Nobody wants that. And I don't wish that on any character. However, the tower happens for us, not to us. The tower happens when something was not going to be sustainable. We weren't in the right place. We weren't in the right groove. Nothing that we were doing was really in our greatest and highest good. And the universe comes in and says, so you have free will, but you also ended up getting trapped and snagged, and your karma says you deserve better than this. So we're going to help liberate you. And it's going to be a big shakeup, but it'll get better afterwards. Like that's how there's always people in life that go through really tough things, and you'll hear them interviewed later and they're like, honestly, it changed my life. And actually my life did get better after this, even though at the time it was just, oh my God, so overwhelming to cope with. That's the vibe that I get, because we actually turned to the 9 of Cups after that. So some massive shakeup that feels overwhelming, feels negative. That is what brings Libra and this possible Earth sign back into each other's orbit. But that safety net, that comforting place, it is during a time of huge change in a character's life and huge loss. But the aftermath is, oh my God, I turn out to feel so much happier, so much better. Maybe it's because it brings these two into each other's energy. Let me just ask, is it that these two find a way to be together now? Page of Wands, the Devil. Oh, okay, something had to change, something had to give. And I'm going to say we have a masculine who was being puppeted, right? This could be the Earth sign, just because this is Capricorn energy, and we kept seeing, Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. Never matters how somebody shows up, masculine or feminine, but the river finally ran dry. I almost feel like if somebody felt like they could make a change a long time ago, they would have, and they would have already been in Libra's world. But it kind of took this huge, cataclysm to free them from something. The river had to run totally dry, and there'd be nothing left before they could really move on. So, I mean, maybe this is, not that this is simple, but maybe it's as simple as Libra and this person worked together. They were friends. They were, work companions, but there was an undercurrent that was like, more than that, these two really, really have deep love for each other, even if it wasn't romantic love, because maybe one of them was still married or had some kind of a connection. You notice that there's a woman here sitting on this piles of money. You notice they're being puppeted. Whatever the situation was, it could be that somebody loses their job, also loses the karmic that they were with, finds themselves without a job, without a place to call home, without their, toxic lady love, if you want to call them that. And it's a combination of, I lost everything, thank God, because everything I had was shitty anyway, but I'm now free. But I also have nothing. And Libra's like, come on, I'll pick you up at the airport. Doesn't matter. I'll see you there. And it's like, and this is a new life for them. This is a new beginning for them. Yes, it does feel like somebody is more or less the rescue. But it doesn't feel like somebody created this, ooh, I hope that I collapse everything in my life so then I have a get out of jail free card and I can go rush to Libra and go, live safely in their mansion. I don't think it's like that. And again, this could be the reverse. This could be a Libra that, is going to go through some changes if they had something toxic and finally they're free of something toxic, but they lose a lot more because it's like, whatever, if my toxic person can keep it all, I don't care. I just want to be free of this. And, who's the one person they think of calling? This old friend / subtle love story that never got off the ground before. Libra could be the one going to that, whoever represents the Earth person. I don't know if we're going to get a direct answer on who's who, Page of Swords in the reverse, this keeps saying it doesn't behoove our characters to think about it, plan for it, or nothing like that, because in truth, you can't plan for the tower. I mean, I guess you can choose to make a tower happen, but usually the tower is like the earth shakes, the sky quakes, it's an act of the universe for us. It's when the universe says, all right, I'm picturing the universe like rolling up their sleeves and being like, all right, here we go. This says there's no point in thinking about it, planning for it, or doing anything about it. If and when the time comes, our characters will know what to do. If and when the time comes, these characters who clearly have a bond, people that have a bond on this earth, they will always find a way to reach back out. There's never going to be a time where somebody that you cared about, hold in your heart, stay connected to, isn't always still connected to you. So come hell or high water, especially though when something huge happens, that is sometimes when the first person that crosses our mind is like, that's the one I need to talk to. That's the person that, it's very simple now. It's very clear. When something big happens, who's the first person I want to call? Oh, it's them. Who comes to my mind? Maybe with the help of the divine, the nudge from the divine, it'll work out. That's what it says. This is going to work out. Even though it sounds like, yikes, big, dramatic changes. Yeah, but these changes are for the positive. But there's nothing for like Libra to do to plan for this, to get ready, to help this person preemptively or vice versa. It's just like the divine's going to play a role in this, and things will unveil as it should. There's something here about things will actually be put and restored. Balance will be restored the way it was supposed to be. This kind of feels like, oh God, what's that song? Is it Vince Foy? Make It Rain. I don't know. That's what I'm feeling, like some really soulful, like sexy, smooth music that's like, go ahead, make it rain. Universe, like, you got more wisdom than we do. So if you're going to make it rain, go ahead. The good, the bad, wash me clean. Let things go the way it's supposed to. I'm open to this. Go ahead and make it rain. I'm not afraid of the upheaval because I know there's going to be a reason for it and it'll make it better. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to kind of flow. Leaf on a river. It's time for leaf on a river. There's some stuff in life, the universe has it planned out better than we could ourselves. And so all we have to do is respond to it from, our higher self and our heart space and make the choices that are authentic. This feels like Libra's going to end up with somebody that they love and who loves them, but it's against a backdrop of some pretty big things going on. Do we have one final message on this? Hi guys, good to see everyone. Death card. The one thing that we can always be sure of is that change is inevitable in life, and this is always going to lead to a new rebirth. So for every ending, all it means is that we have a transformation and something else changes. And what this whole story was about, like, man, there could be a big upheaval, but followed by things getting set right, particularly for these two. So even if this person goes through some huge, upheaval in their life, it might be ultimately what brings them into Libra's world. And that's where, like, okay, that's how it was supposed to have gone. We saw the devil. I don't think anybody cries over the fact that, oh no, I don't get to stay stuck anymore. The tower, happened, and a very toxic situation that I'm in has come to a close. Boo-hoo. We don't cry over the tower, the devil being swept out of our life. So I don't think this is a stressful or sad story at all. It just says it's a sudden change, but that's what brings them into Libra's life. And I do feel like Libra's going to be picking them up at the airport, or they're picking up Libra at the airport. However we look at that, somebody is like literally, it's that big of a change. And it seems like it's going to be like a thunderclap, like overnight, bam, my life just changed. And they're showing up in our character's life. All right, I'm going to leave this here. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you guys again soon. Well, tomorrow, in fact. And don't forget, at midnight, we'll also post a today's topic video. Lexicon, thanks for being here, love. Polka Dot Suzanne, hi, sweetie. Hi, Renee. Right back to you, babe. Roxanne, happy belated Valentine's Day to you also, honey. I hope it was great for everybody. RS Love, Joe Neal, thank you, Angel. So nice to hang with you. Thank you for your lovely energy. Francisco Tovar, hi, sweetie. Thank you so much. Tiffany Elaine, lots of loves. Good to see you again tonight. Annette Summersby, thank you for being here, sweetie. Always great to see you. Yvonne Garcia, thank you again, love. And Rainier Kamal, thank you. All right, you guys, I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.